Good evening guys, Nic Isabelle here. This evening I'll be tying the Stimi Hog, which is a caddis imitation which works fantastically well on the Vaal River for our indigenous smallmouth yellowfish. I'm sure it will catch a number of other species that eat caddis imitations around the world. What it does particularly well, and the reason that I really enjoy fishing this pattern, is I often use it as a part of a dry dropper rig, which is essentially where we use a small nymph, a weighted nymph beneath a dry fly. And the function of this fly really is so that it floats. The idea being that it has a lot of materials in it that are super buoyant. You've got deer hair, you've got CDC in large amounts, and it's easy to see. So you've got a fly that looks good, it floats well, the fish will either eat your nymph and they'll come up to eat your dry. So I hope you guys enjoy this pattern this evening. Okay guys, today we're going to tie the Stimi Hog. For a list of materials used in this fly, please see the description below the video. Guys, what we're going to start with is we're going to make a quick thread foundation on the hook. We're going to run the thread all the way to the bend of the hook, like that. We then quickly just clean that off. What we do then is we add a small tail, which is a couple of fibers of deer hair. What we do then is, as you can see here, it's about 1/4 the length of the hook shank, maybe a little bit less. We lie the fibers above the hook. We do one loose wrap, another loose wrap, and then we apply a little bit of tension so you can see the fibers splay on this side. What we do then is we wrap through the splayed fibers twice, and then we do one more locking wrap around the original holding wraps. There you go. So you can see our little tail sitting perfectly. What we do then is we simply take all of our fibers and we clean them, remove them from the hook, like that. Some of them you can just pull off, that works too. Let's just make sure that our fibers don't spin, so we'll do one of those. Then what we do is we use a little bit of dubbing to fit your preference as far as color is concerned. For this video we'll use olive. A little bit of dubbing. What the dubbing does is it gives the fly a little bit of a profile, as well as hide your thread wraps that you've used to tie in your deer hair. So as you can see, I use a small amount like that. Brush everything else out the way. Make sure that when I'm wrapping everything is good. That looks pretty good to me. Don't worry if you've got a little bit of excess fiber sticking out the fly in funny ways. At the end, when you've finished your fly, then you can come back and clean it up a little bit as you see fit. What we do next is we add another deer hair wing. What we do then is we try and marry the tips of your deer hair with the end of your tail that you've tied in. And you use the same technique, one loose wrap, two loose wraps, pull tightly, go through, and again, there you go. Then you simply clean your excess deer hair off the hook, just like that. Or you can pull them, whichever you prefer. Back to your dubbing. There you go. And it's the same kind of process. We're simply hiding the excess deer hair that we had in our fly before. There you go. So that's looking fairly good so far. Now we add another wing. Here you can see I've got a nice generous amount of deer hair. We simply now do the same thing. We're going to marry the tips of these fibers with the tips from the last wing that we tied in. Same technique, same technique. One loose wrap, two loose wraps, pull nice and tight. One 3/0 splay, two 3/0 splayed fibers, and then one last locking wrap. There you go. We just clean those fibers. Be careful not to cut the fibers that you want to be there. Those ones you can just pull or pluck out as you go. Like I'm attempting to do here. Alright, back to your dudding. So what you can do is do a couple of wraps, turn the fly over upside down just to see what's happening underneath. So I'll do that just to make sure that my proportions are correct and that we don't have any major problems. There we go, it's looking pretty good. Now we're going to do another wing. There we go. Same process as before. One, two, one. Go back to our dubbing. Just check that everything is in order. It's looking pretty good. Exactly the same process as before. Now we've got our last wing tied down. We do our last securing wrap. What we do then, like we have before, is we simply collect all the fibers and clean them off, just like that. Lovely. If you've got some fluff, try remove the fluff because it does hold water. We're going to add a little bit of a CDC collar to finish off the fly and obviously hide the last couple of wraps before the eye of the hook. So we're going to use the split thread method. We simply flatten out our thread. Use a blunt object of some kind to split the thread. I've done here. It's perfect. add in your bulldog clip. Lovely. And now we simply spin our thread. Like that. So now you can see it's all nice and spun. It's essentially a brush with CDC, like that. And then we wrap it, and as we wrap it, we pull all our fibers backwards in the exact same method that you would with a saltwater brush or a woolly bugger brush of some kind. Lovely, and there you have it. You've got the Stimi Hog. What we'll do now is we will do a quick whip finish, however you prefer to do it. If you use a tool, if you use your fingers. Here you go. Give it a quick snip. Now, what I like to do with this fly is I'll use my fingers, or I'll use something rough like a piece of Velcro, but I will loosen up all the CDC fibers like so, and then I will trim the underside, not clean to the hook, but just like that. Perfect. And then I'll push the fibers back again. And there you have it. You've got the Stimi Hog.